welcome back. I have wanted to talk about this band for quite some time, but it felt like a bit of a mammoth undertaking because there's quite a lot of lore. What I will do is to try and just summarize it as just talking about Clowncore. I discovered Clowncore back in, I want to say like 2010 or something, 2011 maybe, which makes me sound like, oh, I knew this band before you did, but like that's the truth. There was this old website called StumbleUpon, which as far as I'm aware doesn't exist anymore, which you put in certain keywords and then it would go off and find related stuff. So you can have like a feed of stuff that you're interested in, right? I never used it, but a friend of mine used it, and I believe we put in something like saxophone, clown, metal, like just a whole bunch of random stuff, and it came up with Clowncore. It was like the perfect thing to do at the perfect time, just when these guys emerged, pretty much. What we discovered was this. And we thought it was quite interesting. You know, we'd never seen anything like this before, and it was very silly, but also sort of heavy-ish, so we were on board, we liked it. Didn't think much more of it, and then Clowncore disappeared for many, many years, until they suddenly re-emerged, and then I forget exactly how I came across them again. It was probably just the YouTube algorithm knowing how weird I am. And so I found it again, and I'm like, whoa, hang on. I haven't seen this for a long time. Going back a few years now, they just released their album, Toilet. I found it, and watched it, and loved it, and showed it to others, and every single person I showed it to was like, thank you for sharing this with me, because they'd never seen anything like it before. In the same way that I did in 2010 or whatever. A few years after that, they released the album Van. These album names are very easy to remember. And of course they were released with music videos. It's more just them performing in the toilet and in the van. Something I want to get out of the way right away is I have had the feeling for many, many years that kind of everything's been done already. It's very difficult to do something original in music, aside from combining other already existing things into something new, which has happened a lot. But Clowncore do so many things that are genuinely original and I've never seen before, and I can't I can't really see any other musicians having done the things that Clowncore does. Clowncore is allegedly Lewis Cole and Sam Gendel. Again, I'm going to kind of keep the members brief because there's a lot to go into, and I don't want to be here for 45 minutes, and neither do you. But Lewis Cole, he has his own solo project, and Clowncore, and a band called Nower, as in Knower, and all of it's really good. He's an insanely talented person, particularly drumming. He's actually popped up over the years throughout me looking up stuff on YouTube of like drumming videos and stuff like that, and I kept seeing his name over the years and didn't really think that much more of it, without realizing that that's the same guy I watched in these ridiculous Clowncore videos back in 2010. Once Clowncore started to emerge again, I'm like, I have to look into this band. I have to figure out who these guys are, because obviously you wear a mask. It makes people intrigued as to what the identity of these musicians is. Again, it's speculated to be Lewis Cole, but you watch videos of him playing drums and then you watch the drumming clown and it's obviously the same person. We're not fools. I have listened to his solo stuff, really good. There's so much music that this guy has been involved with that I must confess I haven't heard it all. I have heard all of Clowncore, so that's why I wanted to make a video on this rather than him as a person, but I'll include some links in the description of stuff that I can't be bothered to go into because there's so much. But it's worth go down into the description if you are curious to see more of what he's done, because there's a hell of a lot. It's a big rabbit hole to get into. So Clowncore, like I said, they have made so many decisions musically that I feel like no one else has ever thought of before. A lot of which are, how can I put it, not for children. But not in like a violence way or an overtly adult-themed way. Just stuff that's kind of gross, but that children would like. They would find funny. Like Sam Gendel using his man sausage as an extra hand playing the keyboard. Or in the album Van, one of the songs, called Song, starts off with the van moving very slowly in forwards gear and then reverse gear, forwards gear and then reverse gear, and you hear this flum noise, and you're like, oh, I wonder what that could be. It turns out that what that sound is Lewis Cole with his man sausage out of the door of the van, playing a stationary bass guitar with his man sausage. There's another video, I'm pretty sure it's not real, because it's pixelated. It's depicted that one of them does a poo on a keyboard as well. Because there's only two people, you know, they only have two hands, and at times they need an extra pressure on the keyboard in whatever form that takes. And so you use extra body parts, I guess. Also their use, and this was the case from the very beginning, their use of silly honky horns. I love it. I don't recall ever seeing another band using like bicycle horns, like old bicycle, like honky horns in music. Who does that? That's insane. And while this music is obviously absurd and ridiculous in every possible way, it is unironically shockingly talented. And I'm sure to a lot of people they're just going to go, oh, this is just stupid. But to those of us who have a bit more knowledge about music nerds, right? Let's just call ourselves that. Music nerds watch these videos and what they're doing in these videos and how they're performing these very, very complex, unconventional songs and go, holy crap. Most of the time, Lewis Cole is playing a keyboard with one hand, he's playing a hi-hat and a snare with the other hand, he's adjusting the hi-hat with his left foot, he's playing the kick drum with his right foot, and often he'll put the drumstick down to do something else and then pick it up when he needs it, and it's crazy coordination. And then you've got Sam Gendel, who apparently is an incredible saxophonist. And can also play the keyboard. Fairly straightforward stuff, but when you only have two people and you want to make this bizarre music, you're going to need a bunch of keyboards. They have such a recognizable synth sound that they use. It's like this really unnecessarily distorted keyboard synth sound, which is immediately identifiable. This is another band that incorporate humor into their music without that in itself being a crutch of the music. As I have previously covered in other videos, I do like bands that don't take themselves seriously, bands that incorporate comedy into their music. But if the whole band's thing is just we are funny, then I'm gonna get bored very quickly. These guys, I feel like it's kind of 50-50 comedy and performance. And what I mean by that is any single person is going to look at, as long as they have a sense of humor, is going to watch one of these videos and laugh. Almost guaranteed, because it's such an absurdist art. The music itself is so captivating and chaotic and unconventional in every sense of the word. Even now, if I watch one of their videos now, it still makes me laugh, and I'm still blown away by how talented these two guys are. Not only being talented, but talented in a very unconventional way. Like, most of Lewis Cole's music is not normal, I think is the best way to put it. Clowncore is like that compressed into a band of two people. I feel like I could go on all day about this band. While they do have, generally speaking, very chaotic music, and it chops and changes, and it's like schizophrenic music. It goes from like drum and bass to jazz to ethereal, kind of very, very pretty music. What I'm getting at is, I feel like they're known for their chaotic music, but they do have some songs that are genuinely beautiful, and almost too beautiful, because they sort of provoke a sense of existential dread just by listening to them. They've got no lyrics, but the sound of it, you close your eyes and you just listen to it, and it's like you're either being born or you're about to die. You're about to be reincarnated or something, and at this point you're floating through the empty void of the universe whilst listening to this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's how it makes me feel. And judging from a lot of comments that I see on their music, other people feel the same way. The latest release was an EP called 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a brilliant name because there's 4 tracks on it, and the first one's called 1, the second one's called 2. You get the picture. But track 3 is one of these songs that it just blows my mind even now just thinking of it. And again, there's no lyrics, it's not extreme and like loads to focus on, but the sounds in it and the melodies, the chord progression and everything in it is way better than it has any right to be, considering the meme factor of this band. I think that has been the key to their success, actually. You get people's attention by being funny and weird and extreme in some way, right? You've got someone's attention, right? If that person then digs a little bit deeper and finds music that is genuinely really well composed and thought-provoking and mind-blowing, that's when you get your credibility, aside from the very, very obvious talent that you harbor in your band. If you can do that, if you can be so multifaceted, you're going to get credibility from others. Another thing I will say is they have very well chosen song names. The song Google Your Own Death unironically beautiful and, like I was saying, existential. Like, it makes you really, somehow it makes you think of all of your past experiences and everything, even though they're performing it in the most confined space possible, wearing ridiculous clown masks. It doesn't take away from the genuine beauty of the song. And then there's Hell, which goes from a sort of half-time drum and bass beat, kind of, into a brief section of like 80s chat show intro music. Which shouldn't work, but it does, somehow. Then you've got Computers. It's such a weird, unconventional rhythm, like it confuses your brain. Not only that, but how they're able to play it together at the same time. Obviously there's a lot of rehearsals with this stuff. It's so weird to play. Even I've not tried to play it on saxophone or on drums or whatever. I just know that it's so weird. And getting the timing right in all of these songs is not going to be easy, but particularly this one. Then it goes into something like something out of a early Sonic the Hedgehog game. And then in the video, the gentleman's sausage airbag.
What?
And then as a nice little outro, you've got, I'm having to choose my words very carefully here, relieving oneself of, I'm just going to put it here. Then you've got Earth. For which I have no words. And then song, like I said, is the one incorporating using the van, going back and forth to play a bass guitar with gentleman's area. This is what I mean about them doing things that I'm sure have never been done before, which, as I mentioned, is very difficult these days. Recording music in a van going through a car wash. I'm sure no one's ever done that before. Like, there's no way that they ripped off anyone with any of these ideas. The mask thing, okay, people have done masks before, but aside from that, I can't think of a single thing that I've ever witnessed Clowncore do that I've witnessed someone else do. It seems the amount of thought that has gone into this for just random ideas that somehow work all together as one project, I guess. Because of all of these disparate nonsense ideas that they have in this music, how many ideas did they scrap because they were just too stupid, too ridiculous, you know? I really want to know. So I'll give you a few examples of Lewis Cole, who's, I feel like the main person behind Clowncore, with these music videos. There's F It Up. Doctors asking news, what's up? I broke brother, I fucked it up. Easy, safe, and with us. When You're Ugly. When you're sexy, people wanna talk to you. When you're ugly. And the song Life, performed with a full orchestra. So hopefully these examples will show you the bizarre diversity of Lewis Cole's solo music. And this is just a tiny sample, and again, all of these and more will be linked down below. I feel like once you establish yourself as an artist that has enough clout, let's say, to perform with an orchestra, I think you've made it at that point. But I would still say that not many people know who Lewis Cole is. He still seems, at least, very much underground. Having said that, he did, and I didn't know this until researching for this video, I played GTA 5 online a lot. I don't play it anymore, but I've got like 2,500 hours in that game or something. And he made a song for that game that I didn't know about. This one.
Mainstream won't get you wet. Thank God for the internet. Search my name and spend your night.
I've probably known about Clowncore for longer than any of you watching, which again is not meant to sound like I knew this band before they were famous kind of thing. It's just the truth. It was a random thing that I found back in the day and then kind of never thought any more of it. And now, thanks to the internet, they have gone viral, and deservedly so, and I wish them all the success. They did also do a tour in 2023, I believe, a fairly small tour as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure how well that went or how successful it was. I can only imagine it went pretty well, but it's the only one they've done so far. And I think because of Lewis Cole's many projects, it's not something that's going to happen often. But they have toured live, and I would like to see them live. If you don't know who this band is yet, and you've discovered them through this video, you're welcome. As a Clowncore veteran, hit me up if you also discovered them before anyone else discovered them. I'd be interested to find that out. But yeah, if you like Clowncore just for the memes, then good. If you, like me, appreciate them for their genuine musical genius, good. And if you think they're stupid, good also. I can see all of those perspectives. That's about as much as I can say about this ridiculous band. I'm now going to go and listen to some Clowncore and have a laugh. If you're new here and you were just curious by the thumbnail, then welcome. If you're already subscribed, then thank you very much for being here. I've still not thought of how to end videos yet though, so I will just say